I'm half tempted to ask you for a demo of that, the Guinness Book Records, and ask you to recite the periodic table, and that'll be exciting, really. But much more excitement here, really. And to all the luminaries on the stage, and to my doctor friend who I've known little but known really well, and to all of you, I would like to say very proudly once again, Jai Hind. I think it's a matter of great shame that we did not know who phrased this, who coined this phrase. And I think you have done a stellar job in bringing memories of that man to the fore and to all of us. I read with great pride, and I cannot imagine that I did not know. And as somebody who read history, who's been part of journalism, activism, active politics, I feel a sense of betrayal. And I wouldn't just talk about Bipin Chandrapal and Romila Thapar, but a whole lot of historians, researchers, who have not done justice to the memory of this great man, Chempaka Raman Pillai. So I really think it's time. Somebody said the record right. This book has done great justice to this absolutely important memory, to this nugget of information that makes us who we are in the evolution of India and Bharat. And I would like to read an excerpt from it. It reads really like a screenplay, and my suggestion to this wonderful, brilliant doctor friend of mine would be to have it in a film soon, because nothing like cinema to spread the word. Imagine somebody like him who just not coined Jai Hind, but somebody, the genius of him, whose plans actually were used, who actually mentored Subhash Chandra Bose, another hero who should have been talked about much more than he actually was. And imagine this man, whether it's making this society in Berlin or working quietly with revolutionaries at that point of time, of course being married to Madam Kama's adoptive daughter, to meeting Subhash Chandra Bose later, to the whole idea of nobody really knows whether he was on that on Emden or not. There are lots of stories about that. But to be behind that valiant effort to go out there, attack the fort, sink British vessels, make their own plan, and the intelligence that was used in the process, I mean, it's something one doesn't know about, and that makes me feel really sad for ourselves. In the last 10 years, there has been, we've tried to reclaim our history, reread it, find out who we are, and that's such an important part of our consciousness. So really, it's a matter of, as I say again, a sense of betrayal that I feel every time I read books on, whether it's Veer Savarkar, more on Subhash Chandra Bose, of course, but somebody like Rani Nanki Devi of Warangal, Ahilya Bai Holkar, Devi, Martunda Varma of Travancore. Do we know who he was? I mean, it's amazing, and we are deprived of that. As my friend Vikram Sampath says, and Sanjeev Sanyal both, really it makes it out, history, the way we have known it and have read it, makes us out to be a nation of losers, not a nation of great warriors. So definitely there is something amiss in the way either there has been a whitewashing, a negation, or in some way an effacement of our history. And I think that is being reclaimed. And this is a heroic effort by you. So a huge round of applause for my dear, wonderful friend once again. We don't even, a point when our wonderful preceding speaker, Mr. Venugopal, the great luminary, did not mention was, and I think he did mention in passing, but something that completely overwhelms me is this is a man who actually asked for an apology from Adolf Hitler. Can you imagine? We are very proud of our External Affairs Minister when he talks about Indian sovereignty, and Indian sovereignty deciding the course of our actions. But imagine there were people like him who think now, way back, who actually put the idea of Indian sovereignty first and foremost instead of looking at other considerations. And he actually asked Hitler for an apology because Hitler did refer to Indians as a race not superior enough. This irked him, and he made many appeals for the same. And then there was actually an apology of sorts by Hitler. Now, when you look at negationism, negationism means that a large chunk of historical data is being expunged, is being erased from our textbooks. And for it to cease to exist even as a memory and consciousness of Indian people, our pride in who we are and who we were and how we evolved and which way we are going. Now, something simple. Now, I want to ask all of you, why do you think so many Jews want to keep alive the memory of Holocaust? It's not because they want to seek revenge against a country or a religion, no. But they remember and remind themselves and others at all times through art, cinema, and museums about the genocide. But not because they seek retaliation, but because they seek truth and reconciliation. It is for that and more that we need to learn about the great heroes we know precious little about. I would like to read a very a small excerpt from this wonderful thriller of a book, really, and about a very important time of history. This is about the historic meeting. This great man, Chempaka Raman Pillai, met Subhash Chandra Bose. On hearing that Bose was coming to Europe for his treatment, Dr. Pillai rushed over to Austria and met him there. Bose had great respect for Dr. Pillai, who was 6 years his senior and who had already established himself in the field of battle against English in the depths of the First World War. Having read so much about this legend, Netaji was also looking forward to meeting him. So this was the other way around. And one phrase that Dr. Pillai said on meeting him immediately had an identical response from Bose. Imagine, it gives you goosebumps. Imagine the meeting and that moment of time when Mr. Pillai said Jai Hind for the very first time, and Mr. Bose replied with a Jai Hind. I mean, which year was this? 1932. Can you imagine that moment? Just recalling it I think something happens to each one of us. Unbeknownst to him, this phrase had already traveled to the world, representing the spirit of an independent India. The two of them embraced like long-lost brothers. They had continuous discussions for a few days in Vienna. And of course, they discussed about the medical treatment, and they collaborated. But it was also then that Dr. Pillai gave the famous pincer formation idea to Subhash Chandra Bose. He impressed upon him the idea of an attack on British India from two directions to pin them down like a prey trapped between a pair of pincers of an insect. He suggested an attack from Burma or Malaysia in the east, and the assault from the west could be directed from Afghanistan. So when Bose began his attack in the Second World War, he utilized this idea and attacked from the eastern side, fighting in the Burma area. So, you know, there are such great, wonderful moments that make you so proud. And I will reiterate, I feel a sense of outrage. You know, it's with great delight that I read this. You know, something happens to me when I read these precious bits of information. But all of them are accompanied with pride. But alongside that pride is a sense of betrayal, an outrage, a sense of anger. Yes, we have been betrayed by our history writers, as a country, as a people, as a civilizational. And our ethos has been affected by that. And I think it's in that spirit that we rewrite, re-seize what has been ours, to be proud of, to learn from, to take forward, to go ahead with, and understand ourselves and relate ourselves with. And that is, and in keeping with the idea of New India, it is also about talking about old India and some Indians who we ought to have known much more about. So you have done a great job, really. As somebody who's such a brilliant doctor, he's been an absolutely brilliant historian, and who has brought to us a memory of a man who was who was not just inventive, bright, inventive, but a complete genius. So we are absolutely grateful to you. And I think we need to take this book ahead, do much more with it, have many, many more of these conversations, and really pay our respect and a homage to this great man. Jai Hind.